In this video, we learn about routing in single-page applications or SPAs like React apps. We'll look at client-side routing as a concept and how it is different from native routing that we observe on websites. Let's begin. When you visit a website, you traditionally see hyperlinks that take you to different pages on the site. Let's imagine for a moment that we are talking about a traditional PHP website with multiple pages. You land on a homepage of the website from where you might go to a login page, from where upon successful login, you might go to your account's dashboard. On the other hand, the homepage may also take you to a corporate information page, a blog, a contact us page, and more. When you click on a link to access one of these pages, your browser sends a request to the server, which in turn reads and serves the requested page. These are multi-page sites. This is how the internet has been ever since its inception. When you visit a page, its unique URL path goes into the browser's history, and you can bookmark it for easy access or use the back and forward buttons to navigate across pages that you've browsed. This is convenient, especially when you want to store and share links to a section or a page on a website. You can just copy and share the URL and everything works as expected. But when building a website with a modern JavaScript library like React, the website or application in this case is downloaded into your browser when you first visit the URL. These are known as single-page applications because unlike traditional multi-page sites, there is just one HTML page which gets downloaded with a JavaScript app in a bundle which gets executed in your browser. Thereafter, everything happens in your browser at the client level. In all of this, the URL in the browser's address bar does not change. Within your React app, in your components, you may switch UIs using conditional rendering using state or props based on user actions. But this has no effect on the URL in the browser. This means that if you wish to share access to a specific UI or section in your web application with a friend, you cannot really do so because there isn't a unique URL to share. Moreover, your browser's back and forward buttons rely on the browser's session history stack, which stores requests and unique URLs. In the case of a single-page application, this doesn't change because conditional rendering of interfaces and components in your application is internal to your app with no participation of the browser's history stack, and thus there is nowhere to navigate across as far as your browser's navigation features are concerned. The browser's session history stack is a list of unique URLs that the user has visited recently. In a traditional multi-page setup, this stack would look like the one on the left, whereas in the case of a single-page app, the stack would only contain a single URL for the app as seen on the right. This, as you can see, is a problem. While we gain a great user experience in a single-page application where the UI updates almost instantaneously without requiring round trips to the server, we lose the ability to bookmark and share URLs and to use the back and forward buttons for navigation. Modern web applications have multiple sections and UIs for the various features that they offer. We thus need a way to implement client-side routing, a process which maps and syncs URLs with UIs in an otherwise single-page JavaScript app. A URL is made up of the protocol, which would typically be HTTPS for a secured site, the host name or the domain name in this case, followed by the path name and optional query string parameters. For client-side routing in a single-page app, we need to somehow change and track the path name without actually navigating away from the page. The path name can thus be customized. Optionally, the query string parameters could be used to provide additional data to the application. Now, one of the ways to solve client-side routing in a single-page app such as React apps is to use hash-based URLs in your app such as the ones you see here. When you click on one of these hyperlinks, it creates a new entry in your browser's session history stack, and you would see this URL in the browser's address bar as well. But this won't cause your browser to navigate away from the page. This is great because then you can just access the window.location property in your JavaScript app, and it would give you the value of the hash, the path name, and even the query string parameters, which can then be used to conditionally render a specific component or an interface. This way, you can route the user to a specific UI in your web application using actual URLs without the browser physically navigating away from the page that loads your JavaScript app. And because hash URLs are stored in the browser's session history stack, your browser's forward and backward buttons would also work. And you could also share the unique URL with your friends and coworkers, and they would see the exact section or interface in your web application that you intended to share. This way, you get the best of single-page apps with the goodness of native navigation. A much better way, however, is the History API, which was introduced in HTML5 and is available in all browsers except Internet Explorer 9 and below and Opera Mini. The History API gives you direct access to the browser's session history stack, so you can push a unique URL into the stack programmatically, going back and forward and even replacing the URL in the stack without navigating away. This allows your single-page JavaScript app to intercept changes to the stack and react to these changes. Moreover, it lets you enjoy full native navigation features without actually leaving the single-page application in the browser. The result of such a routing exercise is an amazing user experience because your UI is always on and is not reloaded every time you navigate to a page. When you do navigate to a unique URL, the routing mechanism in your app can intercept the change of the URL and use the data in the URL to selectively load components and UI, which can then request data in the background from the server to display. This also allows you to load parts of your UI based on a URL instead of the entire interface. In a nutshell, we get a way to keep our UIs in sync with the URLs in the address bar. But implementing something like this manually for every product that you build is obviously time-consuming and a painful exercise at best. React applications can get pretty large in terms of features, sections, and components. Therefore, it is important to implement a routing mechanism so as to offer an optimal user experience where users can navigate to actual URLs and can bookmark, share, and navigate across sections of your app using your browser's navigation buttons. While the React team do not offer an official routing solution, almost everyone in the React community loves React Router, an open source routing library which has grown to become a standard library for implementing routing in a React application. Built by Michael Jackson and Ryan Florence, React Router is an outstanding and feature-rich routing library that is easy to use and packs enough firepower for the stickiest of routing challenges. Internally, React Router abstracts the History API implementation and maintains a track of the browser's history. Whenever the URL changes, React Router re-renders the application. During this time, the library syncs the right set of components to the URL. The library offers a declarative API with components that encapsulate every facet of the routing process. The library also offers a set of hooks to build custom features with function components. So let's play with React Router in the next video.